Before 1815, there was only water and marshy farmland around Enfield Lock. This remote location with good water pressure and transport was considered ideal by the Board of Ordnance to build a barrel factory, replacing its inefficient predecessor at Lewisham in Kent. The factory started production in May 1816. Always a centre of innovation, it was where mass-produced, precision-engineered products first came to Britain. In 1853, a delegation was sent to the USA to obtain machinery used there for mass-producing weapons made to identical standards. A similar system was already used in Portsmouth by the Navy, having been developed by Mark Brunel, the father of Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Innovation at the factory was not confined to weapons production, but factory design itself. The elegant cast-iron columns of the main machine shop concealed drain pipes within them. The north-facing skylights ensured an even level of natural light throughout the day. The site expanded in its first 50 years. These cottages were removed to make room for the machine gun shop and chapel. The main machine shop was built in 1856 and had electric lighting as early as 1885. On this map, the power station is called an electric lighthouse. Innovation was also present amongst the workers. A cooperative was set up in 1872 after the Deputy Superintendent Colonel Dyer refused to grant a pay rise, telling the workers that they should form a cooperative to lower their cost of living. This co-op continues today as the Enfield and St Albans Cooperative Wholesale Society. Education was important to the co-op, but was also taken seriously by the factory. Right up until its closure in 1988, the factory ran one of the world's most well-regarded apprenticeships. During the two World Wars, the factory changed further. In the First World War, there was an increase of female workers. The need for skilled men at home, despite popular pressure to enlist, led to the issuing of war work badges by the Board of Ordnance. Some of the workers in this group photograph from 1918 are wearing them. The factory's output in the Second World War is well remembered. The Bren and Sten guns are amongst the most famous weapons of the war. The senior draftsman Harold Turpin and Major Reginald Shepherd from Woolwich Arsenal designed and built the first prototype Sten gun to replace weapons lost during the Dunkirk evacuation in 1940. The gun, easy to make, was used by resistance fighters across Europe. The war also gave the factory a talented Polish design team led by Stefan Janssen, which developed a replacement for the celebrated Leigh Enfield rifle. But their design, the EM2, was not taken up. NATO standards led to the Belgian-designed Fabrique Nationale light automatic rifle, built at Enfield as the L1A1. This footage shows its construction in the 1950s. During the 1960s and 70s, new methods of producing components were being developed, such as the lost wax process and group technology. Lost wax casting has been used by different cultures for centuries, but not for precision components. In the 1980s, Enfield's final product, the Enfield Weapons System, made use of this method. Privatisation of Royal Ordnance marked the beginning of the end for small arms manufacture in Enfield. Despite investment in the plant, closure was announced in 1987. After lying derelict for 10 years, the site was redeveloped as housing and commercial space and renamed Enfield Ireland Village. Profits from commercial rents are returned to the community by the RSA Trust. Today, the past is actively remembered in both the Interpretation Centre and the street names. George Lovell Drive, named for the man credited with turning a barrel grindery into a full factory. Turpin Close, Sten Close, Briancourt. The clock tower holds a secret treasure, a 1783 Thwaite clock rebuilt in 1808. As a community once lived on the island in the past, one exists today. In place of a training centre, there's a youth club. A church meets in the community centre, replacing the chapel on the island, demolished in 1928. There's no longer a market on Government Row, but a supermarket in the main machine shop, along with other businesses. The canal and mill pond, filled in the 1960s, have been partially reopened, the water providing a pleasant backdrop for living and working in the buildings of the Royal Small Arms Factory.